Live. We are live. Good evening, beautiful family. Good morning to you, Daniel. Good morning to our friends in the US and Canada, wherever you are at. Such a wonderful time to be together and to be in this here and now with you. From that space of the heart, yes, you really need to take a very deep breath and let it all go into that fire of transmutation. We are here tonight with day 2 of the Cosmic Activation Retreat. I am your host, Light, with my beautiful the truth worker, Daniel Beavington from Vancouver, and we are upon a very powerful, transformative session tonight. Before I invite Daniel into the container, he's here with me, we're both ready. I would like to thank you all, the ones who are joining on the Facebook. We really thank you so much and so blessed with your presence. I'm just checking the status. We are live. Yes, we are live, and I already start seeing you in, beloved family, beloved ones. I, as a token of gratitude to the beautiful cosmic healer, I kindly start sharing this live with as many of your family and friends as possible. The more we share, the more love and light we are spreading. You can also start a watch party from your side. So this way we are growing into a big family of love and healing, and we are healing together. Today is day 2 of our retreat. We still have 5 more days of super juicy, beautiful sessions for you for the next 5 days. Tonight's session with Daniel, it's about sacredness of the feminine and the masculine, understanding of the dynamic of the masculine feminine dynamic, especially in relationship and union, understanding sacred sexuality from a different perspective and how we can rise with this energy. Before I invite Daniel in, I would like to share with you the video we've made for this retreat, and a special thanks to Carissa Gallo and Tarek Kabbani, who have shared the music for this video. Dear friends of mine, I will share it here shortly. Yes, unfortunately, the YouTube is not streaming live yet. We will try to figure it out soon for you, but by tomorrow, this recording will be shared also for your convenience. On YouTube as well. So let's just get started. I will let you settle in, take a little bit of time. Daniel have asked all of you to get a piece of paper and a pen and be ready for the tools and exercises he's about to share with us. So I can see into you here. I'm just gonna get myself settled. Thank you. And before we go on, as I promised, I would like to share with you the beautiful video we've made for this event, and it is so empowering and it is so powerful. There we go. I hope you will enjoy it. In oneness we come, one family, one heart. To divine service we vow in this here and now. I no more can deny. My soul sings. I am that I am. I am love. I am light. I am all. All is I. Thank you, Mother Earth, for your diamond light. My heart expands and I awake. No more to deny that voice inside. I am awake to who I am. A child of light, a divine sovereign being on my journey back home. Oh, beloved, today is the now. Spiral inwards to be you. Thank you. Thank you for enjoying this promo intro video with us. I truly in tune into the music. It always open up my heart, and it brings me deeper into that space within me of sharing the compassionate unconditional love with you. So before we start off, I would like to send sacred smoke into the container. And for the beautiful ones joining already on the Facebook, yes, settle in, find that space within you and be ready to receive. Now declare your readiness to the universe, to yourself. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. And yes, here's some sacred with the love energy and the frequency of the lion gate. And here's some infinity symbols into the container, calling upon our guides and spirit, calling upon the directions, our mother, father, God, calling upon our light family, earth family, calling upon each one of you in this container to be fully receive, calling upon our highest, the cosmic healer who are holding space with me in this now to support and assist in this powerful transmission tonight, bringing deeper healing within us to the aspect of the feminine and the masculine. And yes, drop I am ready in the comment, and we are ready to deliver an incredible session with Daniel tonight. And yes, beloved, the more we declare from that space of the heart our readiness, the more we open to receive, and the more we allow ourselves to be in that space of receiving, so we can shift, and we can shift together into a powerful reality. We shift timelines as we set intention. And the time is so powerful, and the energy is very conducive, especially since the lion gate, and since this whole chaotic, that we might think it's chaotic, it's happening, but it is to the highest good of all, and it is supporting and assisting us in this container. Powerful presence of our light family, especially the Lyrian family, especially now with the assistance of the light gate frequency of abundance that are being showered on us, the abundance of the experience, the abundance of the growth, the abundance of this presence, the abundance of wonderful 15 cosmic healer coming together to gift us and gift to humanity this 7 days retreat. So share it from your side and feel into that shift happening as we come together and co-create a beautiful reality. I'm gonna bring Daniel into the screen, and we welcome him. It's morning his time. Yes, I'm seeing I am ready coming into the comment. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. Welcome, Daniel. Okay, kindly unmute your microphone and you are joining me in the live. We are here. Our friends and family are supporting, and thank you. I want to thank you so much, brother, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Ira. I appreciate it. Yes, so what I'm going to be sharing on is masculine and feminine dynamics and playfulness, integrity, respect, and how we can have really long relationships, decades-long relationships that can really help us to magnetize to each other continually, that we don't get a sense of disdain over relationships or compromise who we are. So it's really important that at the essence that we have an understanding of who we are and what we want in relationships. So what I'm going to first bring in is actually, I've taken authentic relating training, and so I'm going to speak about the authentic training principles, and which is really good to have right relationship with anyone, essentially. And those principles are that we welcome everything. So we welcome everything into that sense of relating, and we assume nothing. This is a really big one because we attempt to make assumptions that we know who a person is when we meet them, or even if we start to date someone or are in a relationship with them for a short amount of time, that we assume things about them so that it will make us feel safe, or we assume something about them that's not always true until they tell us, and they're vulnerable about that. And also that can change at any time. So
I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second here, so that I would love you to introduce yourself to us so that we don't assume things. I wanted to save the big introduction because, you know, when we introduce ourselves, this is an affirmation for ourselves, an acknowledgement for who we are. I said, I know you, I feel you in my heart, but also I would love you to share with us a little bit about Daniel. He's so our family can know, we feel into your energy and it's so beautiful. Let's know a little bit about you, and I'm so excited to hear about your Awakening Academy. It is such a good news. I shared the link in the post. I'll share it again right now in the live, so whoever is watching with us, they can get to connect with you after the session. Especially, I'm sure everybody's gonna resonate with the medicine that you're providing. And I have a small bit of good news. Magically, the YouTube is working. Yes. So what I will do now, before we carry on, I'm going to send you the link so you can share it on your page, because you also requested that from me. So it is working and it is coming your way, Daniel. So kindly you can share.
The same link, Ira?
It is yeah, I will share with you the link, because sending from my phone, it's not working. Something got really okay, I'm just gonna copy it right now.
Certainly.
And share it with you. It's coming your way. It's coming your way. It's just what happened, I'm only able to share from the laptop. Also the sharing of links from my phone somehow got hijacked. So a lot of technical issues that have been coming up. So I'm sharing the link with you. Actually, I can share it here in the Zoom for you. It's easier. And here's the link. So you can share it on your page. Meanwhile, I can just check on our I sent it in the here in the Zoom. In the phone, it did not go through. So the good news that we are live on both Facebook and YouTube. Everybody watching with us at this moment, just be ready with your pen and a booklet or your journal so you can take the notes from Daniel and go through the practices he's going to share with us. And I want to see a big I am ready. And here's the big I am ready from myself into the message. Into the comment. Yes, we are ready to receive today's juiciness, nourishment, healing, growth, love. Yes, yes. The YouTube link also, it's already in the comment of the Facebook. I hope we are all receiving ourselves in that space of grace and with compassion and gratitude. And meanwhile, I would love to send more of that sacred smoke in the container. And I do feel into invoking the archangels. Either are coming into my consciousness, and I feel calling upon them in this moment while we are taking care of these technical things. It will be so powerful. It will be so powerful. Beloved family, watching with me in this now, will watch later the replay, being with us in spirit, our cosmic family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Calling upon Archangel Shamuel, who's been fully present in this container and pouring the unconditional love into our hearts, into our intentions, and into each session, each healer, each one of us, to fill this container with unconditional healing love, to offer ourselves to be the vessel of the divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Calling upon Archangel Michael to place a dome of protection above this container so nothing of lower frequency energy can make its way through. Only that of light and resonance and love can find its way through us and through us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Daniel, for being here. And I think we are ready to just bring you in. So, and with full conviction after tonight's deep activation, I want you also to introduce your beautiful self to us and your beautiful Awakening Academy that is coming up before we tap into the juicy topics of tonight. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I'll introduce myself. I am Daniel Beavington, and I'm a body worker and breath worker. So I'm an integrative body worker, working with de-armoring emotional disorders, relaxation, restorative and rejuvenation, massage. It's an all-encompassing practice. So meaning that as much as that person can handle, we go to the heart of the issue. Dealing with the causality in the body of where we're holding chronic tension and where that can be released. So typically they can receive a lot of benefit in one session, but if they have more in 2 or 3 sessions, there's a lot that can be moved. So it's really good that we receive some deep type of therapy in our life, or somatic expression, or even that sense of sacred touch, or that sense of deep touch to us can be really healing. So, but on a deeper sense, physiologically, we can have a lot of different corrections, and I have a lot of understanding of science of where, how that can attribute to our growth and to our empowerment. So bodywork is probably one of my strongest offerings at this time, as I have just cultivated and started my business called Awaken Living. And but I'll just touch on the breathwork piece as well. Although there are not really too many people booking breathwork sessions at this time. However, that probably could be the best tool for you. So I'm offering one-on-one sessions with breathwork, and that is diaphragmatic entrainment. Okay, that is having a conscious connected breath. This style of breath is very slow, and it's very yin style, and it's going to cultivate breathing from our root up all the way through, and basically creating a way with our breath. If we do this enough, or if we do it like 5 minutes a day even, we are going to notice differences in our body, and we're going to have cell regeneration. We're going to have more confidence. We're going to have more VO2 capacity. We're going to be able to release restrictions and mucus and phlegm in our lungs. For myself, when I did level 1 and 2 breath work and an advanced training, I was able to release some of my core wounds and be able to actually come more into a deeper place of embracing being a singer more, which I had done on my own, but now coming in a more performative capacity. So breathwork and body work, I have my website, www.danielbeavington.com, but it is being redone right now and will be back and launched again in the next 2 days. So I'm really happy to have that getting redone. And we'll also be listing a mixture of my services. I'm adding more services. So one thing I'm also offering is in the Vancouver and Lower Mainland region is actually doing couples massages. So going into where couples have, and I'm able to teach them really passionate and deep type of massages that they can do with one another, so that they can really kind of spark up and juice up their love life a little bit, or that they have 1 minute or 2 minutes or even an hour to do that type of experience with one another. It just does wonders. Even just the intention of knowing how to give a proper shoulder rub to your partner definitely will help to keep that sense of magnetism going, because in that sense, we're really both helping each other to grow. It might be a feeling of like give and take, but really we want to have a sense that we both know each other, and that's will really help people in partnerships. I'm also going to offer events where I go and we don't do breath journeys, but I teach a little bit of the breath practice so that everyone can have a tool of the breath themselves, so that they can do that on their own, even if it's just a 5-minute practice. But just make sure that
will you share that 5 minutes practice with us? It will help to just ground and align us during these times of receiving this nourishment. So if throughout the session you feel the time is working well, maybe you can start off with teaching us this tool. I think a lot of the people watching, they will benefit from it, and 5 minutes a day we all can spare and prioritize ourselves.
Yes, I definitely can do that. No problem. Once I finish on the share myself, then I'll definitely happy to do that. So breath worker, body workers, my main thing, teaching a little bit couples massage, going into their homes and helping them in that way. Also going to events, and I'm a transformative and empowerment coach as well. So I have a lot of different tools dealing with tons of different aspects of life, from self-care to how do you get involved in community, to understanding your purpose or discovering your purpose, to your close family and friends, and having mentors in life and why that might be really important. So there's a lot of different aspects of life I can do personal coaching on, that I've done 10 plus years of personal development to understand, and sort of missteps along the way and things that didn't necessarily serve me. But I think that the ability for any of us to reframe bad experiences really help us to not get down on ourselves or not to go into negative emotions. So those are a few things that I do. I'm also a professional musician and stepping into singing, and I'm a professional drummer. So I've been a drummer for 25 years, and that's why I have a deep understanding in a way of my body and body mechanics. And in that sense is like one of the most powerful things you can do, I think, because when we are both working with our left and right brain, and we are constantly able to use them both and use them synergistically, we're going to be able to have a strong understanding of our, not only our emotional side, but our analytical side as well. So, and not only that, it helped me to understand how to oscillate between my parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which is sympathetic is fight or flight. And when we get into stress responses, and being able to also come back to a relaxed state, even if we are having activity. And so that's a sense of more playfulness and more excitement and more being able to embrace what normally might be a stress response for us that would give us anxiety or give us any of that sense of nervousness, but also in the parasympathetic nervous system of having that calm, relaxed, peaceful nature. So we want to be able to actually have an understanding of both and when we are having those stress responses. So drumming has really helped me, also just for my inner confidence as a performing artist, to be able to step into new realms and push my own comfort zone. So for myself, I know, my comfort zones never really truly serve me, and it's really good to push our comfort zones. There's nothing that can really make me uncomfortable at this point, so I have to find new ways, which means that I can expand what I do and put it out more to the world from a naturally confident place, and how that's going to make a positive impact with myself and others, because we all are influencing each other and we all have a sense of an energetic sense of ourselves.
Yeah. I just want to emphasize on your statement. I am a truth worker, and it always, like touches that deep a soul within me. And I want you a little bit to share with us, how do you feel into that, being a truth worker, and how there's no more spiritual bypassing in your personal life, in your coaching, in your spiritual journey, and in empowering other. I would love to hear that, and I'm sure like our people in Facebook who are watching now, who will watch later, they will really resonate with that.
Yes, and this can be a sensitive subject for some. Okay, so this is my personal opinion. And essentially, we want to be what we might call a light worker as well. And that is very, very powerful, because we want to be in that sense of light as much as possible. But if we are bypassing and we are attempting to make nice of something or play nice with something without dealing with the direct cause, which can be really negative, dark, toxic feelings, because we are afraid to face it, then that is not serving us, and that is doing us a disservice. And we need to get to the heart of the matter, which most of us don't do that. We will do anything but deal with the heart of what matters. And so that's my duty as a truth worker, or what I might call that myself right now, because that's what we have to face first. It's all that truly, really matters first. So all the other things that we'll choose to do to avoid that is usually like adverse childhood experiences. It is our deepest traumas. Okay, and those we need to keep uprooting that as much as possible. It is the things we put off if we want to learn something new, but we're like, oh, it's just too hard. We need to be able to know that we can do it. And even it's about consistency to show up in that way. So when we show up in that way and we're saying, I'm going to face what I need to face, whatever it is, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid, which I know for some of us might have disassociative natures. All right, then if we have any sense of disassociation, then we might just want to be in that sense of love and light as much as possible, which is wonderful. But we have to face the truth of our reality, which is 1 foot on the planet, 1 foot here in the world, in the sense of what is actually going on in my day-to-day life. Where do I want to be? And that's, taking progressive, actualized action of what is needed to face that, so that we don't isolate ourselves too much, so that we don't escape too much. And some of us, that's incredible. For me, I know I am involved in the world here, like as much as possible. So there's no sense of avoidance, and there's no sense of putting things off. And with the healing work, that will be I feel, the most impactful way we can make the difference in people's lives, to help them deal with that, as much as the titration of threshold that they can handle that, because the resistance to contact is fear, right? So if we're just resistant to any contact, we're just not comfortable in our body, and we need to be so comfortable. And that's actually how we can understand to use, like, purposely use charged emotion to get through things, purposely using our environment around us, not to externalize, but to actually use those as tools, music and relationships, and understanding our roles in life, so that we deeply appreciate everyone and everything around us, but we do not disassociate from what is needed to grow. And that is the biggest, one of the biggest things we can do. Otherwise, we'll kind of usually go back and forth, and we'll kind of do things for a little while and then fall back into old patterns. So recognizing old patterns that don't serve us, that's a really big thing. Watching our vices and our addictions and any numbing mechanisms. And we all, literally, almost all of us, have small addictions to things. It's just true. Even if you have an addiction to enlightenment or spirituality, like, we gotta have, I feel, a full rounded, well-balanced life. And in order to do that, we have to face all of the different rings of life. My brother has an incredible practice called the 9 Rings of Alignment meditation, which is just scanning 9 different rings, from our self-care all the way out to community, to the earth, to our dharma, to our purpose, and some of the things I teach in my personal coaching. So it's imperative, really, that we just continue to face that part of ourself that doesn't want to be seen, that part of ourself that feels shut down, that part of ourself that feels repressed or will reject us, because we're going to actually be able to grow in our stages of development and evolve in evolutionary psychology, and to have a way better grip of who we are and where we do want to go by continually doing the heart work, or the hard work of what that is. So breath work and meditation, all of that help, but actually having close relationships, it actually is proven scientifically, or that actually above success or financial gain, the best way to have a long living life full of vitality is healthy, close, happy relationships. That's it.
Exactly,
So
because we long for the touch, we long for intimacy, and we long for understanding that intimacy goes beyond the sexuality, and it is intimacy within ourselves, with our emotion, with our body, with our understanding of our energies that surging within us. That intimacy has just been so overrated. So people like tantra, like, anything that it is for our highest good, somehow in a way it was kind of shunned, and we were given the wrong notions and perspective about it. And believe me, the we really long for the touch, for another human's touch. And it starts with childhood. Maybe the new mothers, the new generations, they got to connect deeper to their kids and feel into that, the importance of that motherly touch that the child need to soak and bask and day and night. And I know the difference it used to make me feel when I used to go back from travels and go just home to visit my family, and I would sleep on my mom's lap or my grandmother's lap for hours, and all I wanted to do is to like to touch my hair. We long to feel that person's love through that touch, because we transfer through our palm chakras our energy. It's not just about the intimacy of a couple, or it's just so empowering to feel another person's presence and touch. So yeah, and I wanna hear more about intimacy and how to embody intimacy.
We're definitely gonna get right into that too.
And before I give you the mic, I would like also to, yeah, I would like all our Facebook friends who are joining right now, who are watching, to leave all their questions for Daniel, and I will pass them on to him. So please, if you have any questions, any concerns, you want to connect with Daniel at any time, you just drop it in the comment and keep these comments flooding with love and support, and we are here for you.
Yes, and I'll actually put it out there, to be honest, that for ones that you feel safe with, you can give them my personal contact or my phone number, and they can call me, and we can have just a 10-minute conversation if they're curious about any of these things. I'm happy to help.
That's a beautiful offering from Daniel.
Yeah.
So whoever needs to connect with Daniel, so please you drop a message and you let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be covering quite a bit of things. So basically that's it. And I'm just going to say a quick story of why this became so important for me. When I became a body worker, after I graduated, part of my gift to myself was I went on an international travel to Thailand, and it was 3 weeks there. It was actually the first time that I had done that on my own, traveling on my own, and it was incredibly empowering. And what I was able to do was to sort of test the waters a bit with anyone that would want to welcome or receive just a little, literally like a shoulder rub from me. And it's very interesting how your approach matters, your presence, and how you can be vulnerable a bit and speak what my intention was, which when I was able to say, this is like, I don't want to actually receive anything from you. And in some cases, we're like on a crazy bus ride from Chiang Mai to Pai or something, and you know, a woman's got a headache in the back, a tension headache. I can just feel that. So just to offer from that place of saying, hey, I'm a trained body worker. I'm happy to offer a few minutes massage for you if you need, if you're going through some physical pain, and the intention of why. But if I was just to come up and say, do you want some body work? I mean, most of the time they're just going to say no, because usually, especially if it's a female, the main issue there is invasive issues. So if they feel at all that the man is imposing themselves upon them without that being welcomed and invited, then they're likely going to feel they need to defend and protect themselves and reject that. But if they feel the sincerity and the deep appreciation from the man and the sense to give back, then oftentimes they'll be like, yeah, of course, there's no problem with that. So us as men in that sense really have to be able to work on our sexuality and not leak out sexuality towards them, and not attempt to like project that piece, even if we do feel the attraction, the magnetism, that's very natural. But that usually highly conscious women have very strong intuitions and spidey senses, as I call them, because they're already reading the energy of the room too. And I happen to be an empathic person as well, so I'm reading that as well. But that sense to give back from the masculine, or men in that way, or anyone that has a masculine sense of themselves, is that where we want to come, like, what can we offer, what we can give and provide. And that in itself is a very sensitive time right now, because it is the rise of the feminine, and it is a sense of that they're becoming really empowered, and their voices are erupting. And I'm really, really happy this is happening, because many women's voices have been quelled for so long, like just dampened and just put down because of very arrogant, powerful, or manipulative or coercive men that just will attempt to sort of put them in their place and try and shut them down if they're being expressive and they're being loving. But as we can tell in our culture now, if anyone is doing that and marginalizing a minority, or marginalizing anyone that might feel less than them, we are all equals, then they will be called out for it. So that's actually what we want to do as much as possible. Anyone that's shutting anyone else's opinion down and not respecting them for who they are, we have to hear them and not attempt to say we are right because we think we know we are right. There is no truly one right way. Everyone's finding their own way and their own path. So that is my piece there, to empower anyone that wants that and to see the potential in them and draw it out from them. We all have this. We just literally have forgotten because we've had infractionated experiences, because we've had many traumas that let us shut down from our more expressive and exuberant and jubilant and loving nature. And I mean, that's a huge piece as well. So I won't get too much on that tangent as I want to get through this material. And what I'll do, I have started the Awaken Living Academy and Productions. So what this is going to be, and it's just started, getting the BC registry of the business name, and I'll be a sole proprietorship of it, is we are going to, I'm going to create relatable and consciousness videos that is actually very funny, that is down to earth, so that people get it in the pop culture, so that people get it in a regular day-to-day lives, that's something that they would be drawn towards, because they'll have impactful teachings in them, and how we carry out behaviors and how we carry out a sense of ourselves. That what does this do? It's like sort of archetypes in a way of like, if I act this way and treat someone this way, this is what's going to happen. But usually in the beginning stages, we don't know how that is going to affect them until it ends up getting played out. And that's why we watch like movies and shows. It's like the premise of a character and how they might be going through something. And so I think this is a really great way, with the production side of things and relatable videos around, from consciousness to humor, to pop culture, to all these different elements, to empowerment tools and processes. And then the Awaken Living Academy will be courses from anything. My first one I'm creating right now is called Emotional Intelligence Shaping Relationships. And the next one, I'll do one on body work, and I'll do one, eventually when I have the proper training, I will do one a little bit on breath work. So, and then probably even drumming. Like, I am a multifaceted person. I'm a big creative and I wear many hats, and I'm learning how to use all of these hats in my business. So I'm very passionate about this. I'm continuing to build it every day. And it's kind of my purpose right now in life, and to be creating my value and success through this. So, and my background was coaching sports, with kids, working at the Children's Foundation with very difficult, challenged children that had disabilities, from fetal alcohol syndrome to undiagnosed autism. And so that helped me develop an incredible amount of strategies to work with children, but then also working with different adults, and how actually it's really good we have an understanding of mental health a little bit and gain perspective from another human being. So Awaken Living Productions and Academy is in its very small stages. And then I will, once things lift a little more here, we have more social acceptability to come together, I will be offering live events as I do workshops on dyads and eye gazing and true human connection, but also making it very fun and interactive and networking. So it's a mix of different communities in the artist realm, in the musician realm, and also in the business entrepreneurial realms, because we all learn from each other in those different ways. So I love doing that. And the workshop's just one piece of having the live events. building towards having big long-term retreats is the idea. So I have a lot on the go, and constantly building towards this. So Awaken Living, in the essence of that, is a sense of we are awakened and we are just living. And that is very fluent for us, and that we have a direction of where we want to go, so we're not caught in distractions and we're not caught in sort of a negative social vibes and playing out cycles all the time. So
Awaken and living. I truly agree with you, and we tapped into this frequency yesterday in the opening ceremony, and yeah, we are merging the divine and the mundane. So we're so looking forward to get started with the tools and teachings with you.
Awesome, thank you. I am too. So we're going to do a quick thing on the breath, but I don't want to get into it too much, because I just want to be able to get through these different practices. But this quick little breath of just understanding the tools of it is all I will go through for a few minutes. So what we want to be able to do, either you sitting on a chair, it's not always the greatest to sit in yoga pose or sit in lotus pose, because it actually, in a sense, will restrict some of the true body flow from what, in my personal experience. So we want to sit down in the chair and have the foot on the floor, or we're sitting or we're laying down, preferably not on our bed, because that's where we sleep. And where we sleep means that we might just get more prone to being tired. So lying down on a comfy mat or lying down on a rug on a floor, for one's hardcore guys or women that like to really straighten their back and want to lie on the hardwood, sure. So if we don't have a pillow, that will help, because even our neck craned forward a little bit is restricting our airways a tiny bit. And so we lie back, and we want to start cultivating a sense of the breath, which in itself will usually even take anywhere from 3 to 15 minutes on average to even get a sense of it, which is 5 minutes helps a day. But if you can do that like 20 minutes a day or building towards that, that will really help. Even like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and try and devote yourself to it. I personally like the breath work more than meditations now, because I'm feeling my body. I'm constantly feeling what's going on the inside of my body. And so the first thing we do is to literally, we can place a hand to get more attention in a certain area, and we can start breathing from our root. And so being able to feel our belly expand in and out. And then what we want to do is actually start creating a little wave, so that the breath carries up, not like one big, as if it's just flowing right through us. We want it to be able to carry from the root up through the lungs and out through the mouth, like this wave we're creating. And the breath goes through more like a ball of energy, so to speak, or that we're creating that conscious connected sense of ourselves. And then we want to have in this style, it's our mouth is open, our jaw is open, and we're only breathing in through the mouth, in and out through the mouth, not through the nose at all. And then we're really starting to cultivate that sense of a relaxed breath, because your nervous system is usually all jittery, or it's going to be very activated. So we want to like continually just calming that nervous system down, calming down the autonomic nervous system. And then when we would do that is we're going to actually cultivate a really cell regeneration and renewal. And the breath goes in, out through the mouth. And the first few breaths or the first few minutes, it's good to purposely activate a little bit. So like making a sound like some kind of tone and getting out what we need to get out, kind of, because usually that's like stuck a little bit. And then once we get that out, or we purposely sigh out like, ah. And if we do that a few times, then what we bring it to the point where it's like literally the exhales are just dropping in our lungs. It's, you raise it up and you just let it drop. So you're not forcing, we don't want to force the exhale at all. Because this is all the way that we show up in life, really, is like, we're literally just like exhausting ourselves. Like, I'm trying too hard. I'm forcing something. So the breath comes in and then we just like let it fall. And that takes, for me, that took months and hours of training, because I have tons of energy. So I learned that piece. So essentially the breath is connected on the inhale and exhale, and you're not forcing the exhale. You're creating a wave of the breath in the body, which takes usually a few minutes. And if this is the first time or a few times for you, it's going to take longer. Some people might get it right away, or even the sense that we're getting it. And it's good to even drop that, like, but am I doing it proper? Just like kind of let that go and start breathing normally. And your mouth's going to get a little bit dry. That's just fine. So the mouth is open, jaws open, and we're breathing in and out through the mouth only. And it's connected at the top of the inhale. It's connected. And then at the bottom of the exhale, there are no pauses. Of course, you can like probably not hear me because I'm just breathing. So we really want to be able to.
You just answered the question, because it's just the question popped up. Do we breathe in circles without pauses?
Yes.
Yes.
And
okay.
So once it gets to the top, and another way we can activate as well is do a double inhale. And when we do a double inhale, it's usually going to feel like it's going to want to force our exhale a bit. But we're activating our system a little bit more so that we get that. Another good way to activate it just before you do the breath, because I like to do it right in the morning, is to dance around a little bit. If you have, you can make a little bit of noise or put on some music, or, just move your body, do a little bit of yoga, do a little bit of expression, and then kind of light on, because then you're activated a bit, which is what you want, to get the blood flow going. And then you're sort of a little more present with it. So yeah, I just don't want to share too much about the breath. That really wasn't fully my intention, although I'll be doing that later. But I have a lot of things I'd like to get through here. And so we want to be talking about the masculine and feminine dynamics and understanding this. So essentially, now that you get an idea of myself as Daniel Beavington, and you can book a service with me anywhere in the Lower Mainland, anywhere in the world. You can book a session with me as a transformational empowerment coach, as I'm here to serve the best potentiality in you, for you to live the best life possible. Those can be booked through me, and I have my personal contact there. So I'm not really afraid of putting my personal contact out, and we'll deal with little spams along the way. And that's part of also about being emboldened in who we are and not being afraid to put our name or who we are out there. Helps so much. So with the authentic relating principles, such as just like to get straight into this now, please, is we want to welcome everything. So that sense of we're welcoming our experiences in, we're not purposely rejecting them. Anything that we think is negative or bad, we're just feeling that is that way. It is just inherently what that is. So it's, we don't, pre-frame experiences in that way. And we just want to be able to come in like, okay, I'm an innocent, in that sense of innocent and curiosity. but I have a sense of who I am, and assume nothing. So we're not pre-qualifying, and we're not assuming that someone is, oh yeah, they're, I know who they are because I got a good sense. And us as empaths, I know for myself, I've done that, is like, I'll meet someone and sort of, we want to box them. And it's actually sort of a masculine way to like categorize and box things and organize, is, oh yeah, like I already know because I've had a few minute conversation. Usually people have multi-depths, multi-layered, and every single person is going through the depth of their own emotional experience to their own extent. But we just assume that maybe they're not, if, they're not as soulful or not as loving or something. So we have to watch that any sense of projection, which I know I've had to learn a lot of. And revealing your experience is the third principle of this. So reveal what you're actually going through. And of course, this is more when you're in a safe container, when you feel trust with someone, you're able to reveal the experience to the depth of what you're going through in that sense of vulnerability, which, in a sense, that weakness is power, that weakness is gift. If we don't consider it as that, it's just, we're going to be true to what is happening. The fourth one is to own your own experience. So not projecting on others, not expecting others to help us or support us unless they truly want to do that. We own our own fullness of our experience. And that really, really helps so that we personally can grow. And that's how we'll be able to support others more in their life. The last one is that we honor ourselves and the other person. I think this is one of the hardest things we can continually do, is to completely honor the experience no matter what it is, and the other, and learn that it is an experience for us to learn and grow. So those 5 principles: welcome everything, assume nothing, reveal your experience, own your experience, honor yourself and other. I took the level 1 authentic relating training principles. It's an incredible training. I think they offer it all around the world. So that's where I learned this, and how we have that sense of container with each other. So with that, there is a sense of how we are in equanimity with each other. And this is the last piece I'm just going to share about the authentic relating, which is on the, let's say, the side of us, or that side, that's the lower side that doesn't serve us as much, is where we are in, like, we're so fragile that we feel we can break. And that's fine. That's the place we want to be if we're able to be cracked open, and that we feel maybe we are a victim, or that we have that, sense, or that we've been wronged, so that personal sense of sticking up for ourselves, are going to come up, the fight, that we want to do, that sense of break. And then as we start to get up in that spectrum, is from that to shame. So then we actually can recognize that we have shame around our feelings, that we have gone through deep things, and we have shame around our life experiences, or in sexual encounters, or how we treated someone or disrespected ourselves, which also is like collapse, like we're on the verge of collapse, which also, those are dark nights of the soul. So it's not, these aren't bad, it's just like that we're ready to face something deep and collapse into what we need to. And then we're coming into humility. So that is a sense too, that we can actually relate with one another. And the humility factor is really important, that we have that sense of like, oh, I want to give back, and I feel this compassion for myself, to be able to relate to others' experiences. I want to be there. I want to be able to relate to someone. And then sort of in that nice middle spectrum is the equanimity of ourselves, in that sense of, okay, I have a sense of peacefulness, confidence. I have, this equanimous nature, which is a really great place to be. And then we're going to start to get up more into like being in dignity, or being authentic. So that sense of being authentic and that dignity will really help us as well, but sort of getting towards now this maybe possibly overconfidence or getting, ego work too as well. And then at the top of that, we'll get into posturing or blame. So when we get into posture, like we are more feeling more important than other people, or we have a deeper sense of importance. It's good to drop that a little bit because we're going to start to get into projection and blame. So from shame to the sense to relate, to being authentic, and then into blame, or from collapse, humility, equanimity, dignity, and then posture. So just understanding these principles of how people want to welcome us into our presence when we're, we can be excitable and playful, but we have, we're not imposing anything upon them that they aren't welcoming. So that's a really good thing. I think it's a great thing to learn, particularly for in the masculine or for men or for anyone that acts from that nature. So that's how we can titrate, traumatic experiences with others to share what's going on, to expand our comfort zones. When we keep expanding our comfort zones, it's amazing what life and opportunities will open up for us. So those are some of the authentic relating training principles that I think are really valuable, and that I like to use a little bit in my workshops. Although I'm going to take more of their trainings because I just took the level 1 at this point. So the next thing that we're going to want to get into, and you can start writing these down if you're not already, are, because I'm so much about the experiential and doing the processes, is dyads. And dyads are a deep form of relating with one another without purposely giving people feedback, or we're just like witnessing them. Preferably, I like to have actually mirroring and interpretation and feedback. But the dyads is one of the most peaceful ways that because it will open up people to say more because they know they're not being judged. They know that they're not being told what to do, or even having suggestions or advice of what they could do. It allows them fully to just be, I'm accepted for who I am. I'm going to say what I mean. And I'm going to say what this question means to me. So I'm only going to share a few questions here about the dyads, which is the first one would be, tell me why you came here. And if you're at an event or you're at a workshop or you're literally with a friend that you trust and why you gathered with them, that could be a good thing to do. It's good to have one person that we can actually do this with and have trust with. So tell me why you came here. And then you can keep asking them that question maybe 2 or 3 times over. And usually that's going to release a deeper and deeper layer of why, the answer to that question, what that means to them. So that's a really big one. And I'm going to share, of course, at the end here, the different phrases we can say to help them get a little bit better sense of what they're saying. So the dyad number 2 question I have, and there's like hundreds, if not thousands, because these are direct questions to help us literally discover who we are. Tell me what a relationship is. Some of these questions are purposely a little bit ambiguous and generalized so that people can be like, oh, well, do you mean a friendship or do you mean a partnership? And they can just define what that is to themselves. Oh, well, a partnership or relationship would be this to me. So tell me what a relationship is a great another dyad question. The third one is, tell me something you have hidden from me. And usually you're going to have a basis of connection with this person or friendship with them, which is now going to start to get towards, oh, I've carried this secret towards you, and oh my goodness, I might be a little afraid to tell you. But if you're just a witness to them and you just appreciate them, and we're not getting in a projection or blame or gossip, and they will be able to tell you some little tidbit or piece of something they have hidden from you. And that will be very revealing and help you both grow. So the fourth one is, this is now, of course, getting into our juiciness of the relationship. Tell me how you want to be loved. And this could be a friendship or it could be a partnership. Tell me how you want to be loved. And that's a really great, deep question, getting to the heart of the matter. Tell me how you want to be loved. Some of us might be just in the first few months of dating or long-term relationships, and they don't truly know that or have discovered that in themselves. So I think tell me how you want to be loved is a great one, and can feel like, I don't even maybe know how I want to be loved, but I know that I like acts of service. So another good piece here is the 5 love languages. And if you're not aware of the 5 love languages, I suggest you can look them up, because you will be able to prioritize or say what your 5 love languages are in order to you. For myself, my first love language is touch. My second love language is acts of service, and then quality time, and then gifts, I think. And oh my goodness, I can't remember the 5th one in this moment. So the 5 love languages are really impactful tool to understand yourself. And then you can know from your partner what their 5 love languages are and how you can serve them, because we all have differences, and those also can change at any time. So some of us are more kinesthetic, some of us more like those acts of service, and it's really great. So the love languages are a great way to understand that physics of artful relating. And those are just the 4 I wanted to share. Just a few quick dyads. You can look dyads up, and they're really impactful tools. You sit across from each other and you just share, you just witness them without any expression. You're just neutral, you're witnessing them, you're seeing them, and you're just you're absorbing them in. And the few things that you can say to be able to maybe perhaps get them to just repeat something again, is you can say, summarize that. So if they've had a long time to share and they're going on like too long and maybe trying to cover too much, you could just say, summarize that, and then they sort of condense it down. For ones of us that are too much in our mind and do too much unnecessary speaking and can't be succinct, it's good to say, summarize that. Just like, okay, let's condense it down. You can say it again. And if you just say it again, it means kind of like how maybe they're just trying to get a message to me across, but really this is for them to learn. So saying it again or say it again means like, oh, right, I'm meant to learn the lesson here. Say it again, and it'll actually reiterate and compound the impact of that in them. And then the next one is, their last one is clarify that. So if they're going off on tangents or they're going way out there, it's like, okay, clarify that. Let's make it, something direct and acute. Clarify that. So those are the 4 things you can say back to them, so that they have a little bit of that neutral mirroring. Thank you, summarize that, say it again, and clarify that. Oh, and of course, at the end of the dyad, all you're saying when they share is thank you. Thank you. Right? So we're just remaining the witness. And this is really impactful. This is sort of a way when that has no mirroring back to them other than like what they're just sharing, and you're just appreciating it, right? But we're not kind of like getting into their story, or we're not feeding their energy, because that's what they need to go through in these processes. So the dyads are amazing tools, and I've done them for years. Thank goodness to one of my strong mentors, Sechin Raja. of Warrior Sage community, who has held these illumination intensives, and another deep, amazing retreat called the Sex, Passion, and Enlightenment, which is about learning about all the masculine and feminine dynamics. So that's a great one.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna yeah, so there's part two. I'm so looking forward, because these are very interesting, and as you said, to stay witness and work through the understanding the person in front of us from that witness standpoint. But how could it impact the feminine masculine dynamic?
Well, because this is how, you know, we are actually sharing, in a sense, that is like that one, tell me how you want to be loved, is in a sense about, this is about love, really, masculine, feminine dynamics, how we come into more unified love. I'm going to get more directly into that, but I wanted to share specifically about those dyads and how great they're processing tools to have integrity and to have respect, which is also part of what my share is about. So what I'm going to do is getting into a little bit of our, I'll get into the greeting. So how we actually greet one another as the masculine and feminine is really important. Being able to share eye contact with the other person is going to help to be able to share that, even that you feel safe enough to do that might feel bold for people. And if we actually look in the left eye is the window to the soul, so we can see more of who they are. And we want to be able to look at them in that way, but not be attempting to psychoanalyze them too much. And I think both the masculine and feminine can do that. Sometimes the masculine to psychoanalyze too much, to try to figure out what's going on, or asking the question, like, how are you doing, like, too much? Because if we do that too much, the feminine's just like, well, I'd like you to know how I'm doing without you asking, and get into the sense of playfulness. So this piece around consent culture is really important, that we have a sense of consent with the masculine and feminine, how we play with that, and that they are inviting in this sense of who you are into their life, and that we don't attempt to psychoanalyze too much. Can feel very invasive. It can feel like it's too much, and so we don't really want that too much. And if we have, you know, a low sense of self-worth or a low sense of self-love, then we might have no contact or very little eye contact, and just kind of being very strongly formal. Hi, hey, like we're already half shut down in a way. So another great way that we can meet new people or in the masculine and feminine dynamic is being able to have a bit of eye contact and learn their name. Learn their name and make it personable, and use their name, because when we use their name, it makes them feel seen and witnessed and heard. So that's huge. And make it friendly and personable. That's a great tool. And then if we do form that sense of trust in the masculine feminine dynamic, then we'll be naturally more open-hearted. And so the way in which we greet can be maybe more hugs. And of course, now it's a strange time and there's not a lot of hugging, right? But if ones that we know safe with then we can hug, you know, and we typically actually go this way on hugs. But if we go like, this is actually a little bit heart to heart. So meaning that when I go to hug someone, I'm turning my body to the right and hugging them, so that it just connects literally on a heart level, heart to heart, chest to chest, like that, the sense of their heartbeat. and that's a big one. So that's just brief about like greeting protocol, which is big, because if we're meeting new people in that sense, for some singles, it's really big of how we carry our presence. And then you know that compassion is felt between you, and walls will slowly start to drop. So that is a really good key piece, and play with that, test that. Notice when you're looking in someone's left or right eye, because one's more the analytical, one is more the emotional, how that's going to affect us, and where we usually have a balanced gaze between the two. But I always look at the person in their left eye, mostly to dependent on, we have to gauge their comfort level too, because some people just don't want to be seen or looked in the eye, right? That they will be looking down, and it's just, you know, becoming more comfortable in ourselves to do that. So now we're getting into right into the juice of it here, and which is, how do we build trust? How do we build trust from the feminine to the masculine in this way? How do we build trust? What qualities in men and masculine continually help to build this sense of trust? And it shouldn't be complicated, but understand some of those qualities that you personally want to garner, that you carry as yourself, which I'm going to list a few here, like being guileless. And being guileless means without deception or naivety. So being guileless, honor, high respect or great esteem. So being honorable is great. We're not always going to maybe necessarily feel honorable, because we're also want to have that sense of playfulness and exciting, and maybe challenging others a little bit too, to grow, the ones that want to receive that. And integrity. Integrity is like one of the biggest pieces, like having strong moral principles, being whole or undivided in who we are, which is also understanding our non-dualistic nature, right? Operating out of non-duality. So they get a good sense of who we are. We're not purposely trying to hide parts of ourselves. So those are a few, like, you start writing down qualities or ways, you know, different even emotions or an understanding of characteristics that you purposely want to cultivate in your life, the feminine to be trusting the masculine. And then what qualities in men form feelings of mistrust. It's good to know these two, and how those are usually what we just, you know, disregard. But like being deceptive or objectifying sexuality in women, which is probably one of the worst, or let's say, you know, causes the most harm, is the sexual objectification, and how we are highly image-based society. It's so prevalent, right? So as men, in the way that we've conditioned and been indoctrinated, we are, you know, naturally attracted to women that, you know, well, might fit the mold of a model or a movie star or something. And so we want to drop some of those conditionings and treat every human being as a human being, and not be narcissistic in our tendencies towards attractive people that usually also might be narcissistic. You know, we understand our own sense of attraction and magnetism and polarity by cultivating that in ourselves. So those are big, like being disrespectful, are ill behaviors, or being disgraceful, or belittling towards, both. It can go both ways. Belittling towards a masculine or feminine, or power manipulation is a huge one, like using status, money, or power to coerce and to make people to do things that they don't want to, because it's like you're offering something to them as from greed, or to like sort of draw them out. And that doesn't feel very good for many, because that's getting into, you know, power roles and victimization. Discontent, natural discontent, means just, okay, do more of our own individual heart work. Or oppression. And I'm so thankful that, you know, we're not in this feeling of being oppressive towards, there still are many that need to learn that lesson a bit, but really not being towards too oppressive towards anyone at all. We want to be in a sense of that we are family, or that we're in relationship, or what role you are with one another. Or falsity, so like lying, and attempting to like make ourselves out to be someone that we are not, because as we start to grow or learn about that person, all that's going to come out. So these are really great things to do around building trust between the masculine and feminine, how we actually really get that. As men and women and everyone LGBTQ plus society, we all have masculine and feminine traits. So just understanding, maybe even break it down a little bit, can be helpful for you, but not get too identified with it. Like I feel myself, I'm about whatever, 70% masculine at this time, 30% feminine, and then that can change at any time. And we're going to naturally attract a partner in ourselves that is the reciprocal of that, right? So I am naturally attracted at this point, maybe a woman that has 70% feminine, 30% masculine. But that's just, you know, getting a little bit analytical into it. It's good to do that once to feel like I've never done this exercise before, but not get too wrapped up in that. So the next part here is around not giving your power away, which is huge. And we want to have a sense of our own self-love, or what that even means to us, which is a whole other topic. Being strong with the sense of who you are and your will not to be coerced. We do not want to feel that coerced. We want to invite it in. And that's what's going to get into my next piece here, around the 3 core dynamics, principles of the masculine and feminine, where we're not pre-qualifying or being judgmental towards someone. We want to discern judgment of like who we want to spend our time with, and being selective, but not being judgmental towards others. And unfortunately, social media is a, you know, can be a volatile place for people to be projecting a lot of emotions. We have a strong divisiveness going on. So just, you know, being respectful with your nature towards another, and always remaining in that respectful way, because that's a mirror for how we are showing up. So these are all towards our lens of perception. This is the lens of how we're actually perceiving ourselves in another, and why it's really good to have that emotional integration of who we are, so that we're not attempting to, you know, project out. And that's going to be a key to the magnet, to who we meet in life. And once we get that kind of natural, well, some might call it law of attraction, but law of attraction doesn't usually work for some unless if they have limited beliefs. So if we have any limited beliefs, that's going to block our law of attraction, or you know, manifesting things in life. So the lens of our perception, how we perceive another in the masculine, feminine, is massive. And like literally, your love is your attitude. Your love is how you are showing up. It's your moodiness, or your how you're feeling in the moment. Within the feminine, that can like change all of the time. Usually the feminine wants to swim in the ocean of emotions, and understand, like, yeah, I might feel this way in one moment, it might change a little bit, or like I might feel super consistent. And so the man carries, or the men, or the masculine, sorry, carries that structure of that, to be able for her to be expressive and swim constantly in a river and lake of emotion, because we want to be able to be very familiar in understanding all of our different emotions, which from the feminine way, she might, like, you know, be able to challenge that in the man. It's like, oh, you just keep, you know, numbing or rejecting certain feelings, either in me or in yourself, that you're not facing, because you're too into your action. You're too much into your like doing all of the time, rather than sitting with emotions. So it's good to have a balance of that. And
Daniel, we received a question in the comments, and I think you are just tapping on that same topic. So the question, Fransumana, how does one deal with situation when men sexually objectify you? Does that mean that you are attracting that because you are giving that out?
That's a pretty deep question. Not necessarily. I'd say it's good to be aware of someone. I'm not a woman, but I would say that if we are leaking out sexual energy unnecessarily, we might attract that more. If we are embodied in our own sense of the feminine, or what some might call their goddess nature, then you own it more, and you will, if they're objectifying you, that's usually they're leaking sexual energy on you, but there's always mirrored effects of that. So of course, if women are dressing very skimpily or purposely sexy, because I feel that honestly, that is also indoctrinations and imprinting and conditioning for the feminine to want sexual attention from men for them to feel good, for them to feel good about their body, for them to feel good about who they are. There's nothing wrong with that, but then you're going to start, if you do not embody that in your own presence of who you are and your self-love, then you will naturally attract that from men that have not done enough integrative work of their sexuality, that is going to make it about fleshy needs and your body, and particularly about your body parts, right? That they're going to be looking at that because that is like pre-qualifying them for like potential partners, right? But to be honest, I'm going to just say this, there are a lot of men with a low emotional intelligence. And if they're operating out of that sense, it's more of a primal sense. And so they are naturally just defaulting to their sexualization nature. And they're just going to be acting from that place, because there are stages of development that we can go to before we realize I'm actually I'm leaking out little bits of energy. I feel exhausted. And then the men are like, but I feel horny, but I feel like, but I am alive in my sexuality, but I don't know how to own it. So I just sexualize women all around me and get all these kind of like fleshy desires and needs met. But all they do is they're kind of building themselves up and just getting all horny and not knowing what to do with that energy, which is very a pivotal piece of having the integral part of our sexuality, and never like even a look into their eyes, and you're like, the women will know themselves, like, yeah, he is objectifying me, yeah, he is feeling that. And part of them might feel good, and part of them might feel, I feel a little bit violated by that. So it's really good that we want to grow in our emotional maturity in that sense, so that we magnetize, we polarize in strong ways, because like if our sense is so strong, our intuitive sense, women could be walking down the street and noticing and just feeling, without even seeing the man, their sexual sort of predatory energy, or their sexual energy of being like coming in, and they might get like a half smile, or sort of recognize it as, yeah, I'm garnering positive sexual attention to my body, that feels good for me. But it's good to have, I think, mentors. For myself, and I only know her so well personally, a woman named Phoenix Morantz, to me, truly embodies what I feel to be like a goddess nature. And it's just funny that I say that, but to me, that's just someone that has always been in that way, that doesn't leak it out in proper ways. And she's all about women's empowerment, and she's just like an incredible person. So I think that's a really good thing to be able to understand that nature of ourself, and to be in our body fully, so that that's, I'd say, more getting into our mind, where we're just like, but I do want to feel sexy, but I do want to feel wanted, but I do want to feel appreciated. And I don't know healthy ways to find that in my life. That's why we need to have a trusting person, you know, whether it be women with women's groups or whether it be men with men's groups, that we garner healthy relationships and that we come together in that sense of like tribe and family. We have to have that sense. Otherwise, we're going to be too individualized or the lone wolf. Or so with that question, it takes a lot of integral work. I'm continually working that on myself, and how we cultivate presence of grounded sexuality that will not be coerced or moved by someone that is objectifying us and attempting to sort of, you know, it's very parasitic, right? But it's unconscious. So men usually honestly have the emotional intelligence, unless they continue to work and not numb themselves, of somewhere between a 17 to 21-year-old going into their late 20s and 30s. Because unfortunately, it's a highly image-based society, and it is about, you know, lots of people watching pornography, and that's just like image-based, and men are very visually stimulated, right? What I like to do is I see and appreciate them. I breathe them in as art. I breathe them in as a deep appreciation, and then I want to give back without any sense to take from them at all. And if I continue to do that and I continue to build in that, then I myself am going to probably magnetize to more, I'd say, you know, I'd like to have a highly conscious woman that is really successful and on her path. That's part of my goal right now. And it's just like, but I'm not seeking it. I'm not seeking it anywhere. I'm just open to feel and to be able to give back to the feminine, to provide that structure. And I really want to touch on this very last piece that we're just getting to the end here, which is one of the biggest pieces here. And again, can be a very sensitive subject because of the empowerment of the feminine right now, that are sometimes getting too much into the individualization of themselves because they've been manipulated by men or from toxic relationships. And that these three principles are from the masculine, and this is from my warrior sage trainings as well: presence. So at the peak, it's our capacity of our presence of who we are. Penetration, yes, penetration, meaning that we have the sense to penetrate, which is also to do and to take action. And claim, that we can claim something in the sovereignty of its being, and the sense of it and of its who, claiming another that wants that sense. And that for many women, the sense of, oh my God, he's going to claim me, will be triggering to them because they'll be dealing with invasive issues. And for men, it's usually abandonment issues. And this last piece here on the flip side, that to the feminine, is expression, invitation, and surrender. We do want this, I feel, at a certain sense of our core, even though we both have the traits of that. So it can go on a scale of both ways, knowing your masculine and feminine nature. And that's one of these nice, great pieces to end on, because I didn't get through all of it, but there was really a lot of really juicy tidbits there. So I'll just say that one more time. With the masculine is our presence, cultivating presence, our sense of being able to do and take action, which can also a sense of penetrate, because in our primal sense and the mammalian sense, yes, that's what we do biologically. We penetrate with our nature, and the sense of claim, the sense of claiming it, and not that we are ever possessing or owning anything. We're just claiming it to say, to give it structure and to give it the sense of like, to embolden it, to really empower it. And expression, surrender, and invitation from the feminine that wants that playful nature, that wants to feel alive and enlivened and naturally ebullient. So I think these are really great things, and the presence will evoke invitation from the feminine, and the claim will evoke the surrender to the feminine, and the penetration evokes expression from the feminine. So these are sort of core principles of teachings and ancient wisdom and understandings that still hold true as we do go from a sense of weird divisiveness in our culture right now, and the amount of sensitivity that the masculine or men need, or anyone towards another human being in general, but to the feminine in general, has to be so respectful. It has to be so appreciative of who they are and our own personal journeys that we've been on. Otherwise, we are going to, otherwise, when we literally start to cultivate intimacy, our projections will start to erupt because our wounds will start to show. So that is very natural. And as we've become intimate and soft and loving with another person, then literally the wounds will start to expose themselves, and we're going to feel, are we actually safe in this container to be able to show this part of myself? And we have to be able to hold that deep emotional space as much as possible with men, or with women towards men, and with anyone, because men need it too, to de-armor their hearts. And across the board, almost in all my client base, it's men with shut down and armored hearts, and it's women with shut down senses of their sexuality from invasive issues and from abandonment issues with men.
Actually, what you've explained and shared today, and all these deep wisdom, and this is like deeply, deeply healing to our perspective about ourselves, about our sexuality, about feminine, masculine within us, around us, and we are coming full circles with understanding ourselves in a higher octave of understanding our sexuality and our existence and being. And such a powerful activation. That's true. It was more of explanation and tapping into the knowledge, but it is really going to that depth of our consciousness, into that space within us that is really ready to step up and leap and go into that quantum field and leap into new realities of more of understanding. Beautiful perspective you've shared on today. And I know we had the beautiful discussions going on in the comment about how it's all triggerings, it's all conditioning, it's all the patterns, whether within the feminine or the masculine. Sometimes a woman just dressing up so nicely out of self-celebration and love toward herself might be misunderstood. And so as you've mentioned earlier, it's about claiming our sexuality and embody it fully. If I am the goddess I am, and embodying this goddess energy within me, it doesn't matter how I'm dressed up, because the energy I am projecting out, it is the energy that's going to mirror to the people who come in contact with me, and I'm going to mirror their energy as well. And I follow a few beautiful accounts on Instagram of powerful women embodying that divine goddess self, and it's so empowering to feel that nakedness, that beautiful self just out there, as pure and authentic as it is, without feeling into being objectified or sexualized. And it's just a matter of believing into it and feeling into it and surrendering to it. So beautiful. There was one question before we close, actually. It was so beautiful, Daniel. And the question was from Risha: how to manifest romantic love, intimate relationship, like my divine counterpart? Show some light on this. So how can someone in these times of transition can attract that romantic relationship, that sacred relationship, and what they start doing from their own self to just be in that space?
That's a big one. Well, it's dependent upon your understanding of your purpose and your artist life, like how you're getting value from who you are is like also self-love and self-worth. So we cultivate that through, you know, continually sending ourselves that love, and being able to really build that up, that we aren't projecting our sexuality out, and that we are, as you say, maybe you have mentors that you follow, and the characteristics and qualities that you really want to continually garner is going to naturally magnetize. If we embody that, it's going to naturally magnetize and polarize that person towards us, and draw them into our life. Because, you know, it's here in Vancouver, it's like dating apps and a bunch of weird ways to meet, and it's usually very strange and superficial. I'm not sure what part of the world she lives in, so being involved in your community, being a voice, being a beacon, but not compromising or cheapening that sense of the sexuality of yourself. As you say, we know the qualities that, or have ones that have the mentors or the goddess-like qualities that, you know, rather than, oh, I'd like to be like them, it's like, I know how to actually create and be those natural characteristics. And maybe sometimes you sort of have to force it, or in a way in the beginning, to just try it out and explore and do new things and get out there, put yourself out there from that sense of confidence and from that sense of serenity and solace in yourself. But we are all powerful in that sense. So then it's not playing small, it's not minimizing ourselves, and being able to do the hard work. And also, if, you know, it can come from more reverse childhood experiences that we you know, compromise. So don't compromise that sense of yourself. And usually there's always subtle shadow layers and pitfalls of the ones that show up of us in the romantic sense, that's gonna infantilize the romance or put someone on a pedestal. So to do it, you just really got to have that natural charisma, confidence, ability to be goofy and act out in ways that you feel expressive. That's how you're doing that. You're surrendering to, you know, what feels good to you in the masculine. So you have to have, you know, strong men around you, and even if it's a close friend, and you literally can start having conversations with someone you trust of like, this is the type of relationship I would have. These are the qualities they would have. Write them out. Like, write out, this is the priority of what I want, how they want them to be. Because we attempt to usually idealize things, and we make things out to be sometimes bigger than they actually are. And to keep that polarity strong, we have to have that playful nature, and then also that we're growing together, and not compromising that sense or diluting senses of ourselves to play small to make someone feel better about themselves. So as the goddess nature, and I'm, you know, I'm coming from more of that sense of from a man, and the masculine nature is, I want to know the kind of partner I want, so then I just naturally garner those characteristics and become more value to myself. I'm happy to spend time alone is a huge thing as well. More than happy to be creative and create things on my own, rather than going out and doing too much socializing. I think a good balance of that would help. It wasn't the best answer, I feel, to that question, but
you did great, Daniel. It was such a beautiful session, actually very amazing, tapping onto all these topics, and I'm sure these energy and frequency that are coming upon us, they are for the transformation and the transmutation and the transitioning into that aspect of ourselves that it's more of divine and humane. It's merging, and I'm just like, I love this, embodying the awakening of our existence, and live it and be here with it. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who've been with us on the Facebook, and I had few people watching on YouTube, and such a blessing to be here, guys. Tomorrow, day 3 of our activation retreat with 3 sessions. We're starting up at 11:11 with Urmila, at 4:44 p.m. with Donna, and I'm just gonna sneak a look at the schedule for the 3rd session tomorrow. Tomorrow is our 3rd day with Mike, and a lot of juicy talks about astral traveling and all the answers we can get through there. So tomorrow, Monday, August 10th, 3 sessions. I'll be here with you and for you. Just keep sending your love, keep sending your support, so that we can hold this space during this activation retreat for each of the one of you who is joining now, who's watching the replay, and share it, spread love and light. Thank you, Daniel, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.